Alright, one more project. We're still working with the 52 Chevy, separate video. We're going to go ahead and put an air ride system on this thing. I've got these temporary pieces in right here to keep my height for the rear axle, so I can correctly align the height that I want. I've got an exact measurement for these, which would be perfect. Basically, I'll be removing the bump stop, putting the airbag right there, and it's dead on already. Probably shortening the U-bolts while we're at it. So bear with me. We're going to go ahead and get this going now. We got this system over here. So one of the pre-wired setups. We're going to mount the air tank in the frame, the pump on the frame. We're going to hide everything right about here. I think it'll fit good and it'll work out well. So yeah, let me go ahead and pause this up. We'll go ahead and get this going. Right, we got a pile of parts. It's always a puzzle. This one actually came with some instructions, which is rare. Yeah, there you go. There's a quick looky. All the battery, relay, airbag runnings, air lines, tank setup. This shows a little bit different than what actually fits though, and it always does. Right here you got your pressure switch plugged off, and then line 2 pump. And then this also has a little inlet filter. It'll be in the box. Every one of these kits is different. So bear with me. We'll keep on going. Everything's labeled for the switches. Pretty simple, down to earth, easy enough. And I'm gonna go ahead and mount my air tank up here. Probably take a couple scabs of flat plate. We want to keep everything unexposed. So we're gonna mount the tank there, and we're gonna try to maybe squeeze the pump in right here somewhere, or vice versa. So we'll find out what we end up with. We have our lower airbag mounts already in. These are a temporary scab to keep the height of the lowest we want. I always like to set mine up where if you blow an airbag or an airline, you can still drive it home as low as possible, but you can still drive it. And then the front, we're going to do a very similar setup. That's a temporary bag, don't mind me. But we're going to set it up here, probably right in front of the shackles. Make a flat plate right here, and I think we're going to roll with that. So this should all work out pretty darn good, actually. So bear with me, and we'll keep going with this episode. Alright, now we're just kind of setting up everything. Was actually missing the pressure switch, which controls the power relay to the pump, the motor anyway. I had one spare, luckily. So this one came, you kind of just position them as they fit the best in your vehicle. If you look at that, notice the arrow, that is the airflow. This is called the check valve. Air can only flow past that way. It can't go back that way. That being said, we've got the main supply. This one's actually going to go to the controller unit, and that has all the little valves and everything in it. This is not a real fast system. If I can find the part. Anyway, this right here controls everything. The air's dumped out that, and they pump out these. Just kind of ran through, set everything up, made sure we had everything. That's why I noticed the check valve was missing. Other than that, we're gonna get the bags on, all the cups and plates and everything else here in a minute. All right, as we keep going, we just mounted our tank. Honestly, drilling holes through everything with all these extra brackets and whatnot, and I got no room to go this way or that way. This is where the owner of this truck wanted it exactly. So we tucked her in. Every single application is going to be different. Here's our pressure switch, our inlet port, and keep in mind this little one-way. See the arrow points in. So we mounted our pump nice and close. It'll reach without kinking the line too bad. We got access to run our wiring down the frame. Do keep in mind, do run a relay or you will fry your switch. There's a lot on this thing. But we made a simple plate. Welded some 3/8 1-inch long. Nuts and bolts, whatnot, so we can still remove it. But there it is. Make sure you clean your metal before you weld. So we're gonna move on. I gotta find a place to mount the master control switch. And I'm honestly thinking somewhere we'll run a line from there across maybe the cross member where I can mount it. And I'll show you these little clamps I got. I'm probably gonna end up mounting it like right here, but I wanna be able to access every line. And on air systems, it's always nice to be able to use a soap sprayer. Regular spray bottle with a little bit of soap in it. If you have a leak, you can find it easy. Leave all your fittings accessible. This one will be going to the control box. We got enough room to work without kinking it, nor going into the wheel well, creating a bunch of new nightmare. We did remove the battery that was right here. In these old 52 Chevys, the battery is under the passenger floorboard. We'll be taking that wiring and moving it up front, but that's a different video. So bear with me. We'll keep on going. Let me zoom out a little bit, maybe. There we go. Keep on watching. I'll keep going. All right, now back at it. Next little segment. And I did use these nuts here are welded. I simply popped in a couple little custom plates to get the angles and whatnot to match up. And I spray all my bare metal. This is the supply line to the tank, to the check valve, direction arrow. That one triggers the cutoff when it hits a certain pressure. As showed before, that's all mounted. This will be the supply line to the control box, which is going to go across to the other side of the frame. We have simply made a bracket over here for a mounting point. We tucked up in there nice and tight. I wanted to do it at this angle to give us a little bit of room for the air lines going down to the cylinders. Well, in hydraulics, but the airbags. And then up this way, these will be going up to the cab, which will be like right here and up. And every application is different, so just do them according kind of to what you got. Make it work, not rub. And we started setting up the airbags in the back. Bottom sides are pretty much a go. Now keep in mind, do offset the air inlet right there. If you're on top or under the frame, it ain't gonna do you no good. So bottom side's kind of set up, and we'll be putting a similar plate like this on this actually too, but you don't want to get that airbag hot. Keep in mind, we got a little bit of an angle here, so what I'm going to do is come out flat, level, and probably put somewhat of a little gusset upward to hold it level, so this is on point. And then we can cut out our little braces that are just holding our height for right now. Other than that, stay tuned. Alright, back at it. Got my kid helping me out. Our airbags are just stationary in place. Starting to run some of the air linings. We're going to probably put heat shrink over anywhere where it possibly may rub. We're using these rubber clamps right here. They got a metal outer shield with the grommet. Probably going to go through any access points we got. Got our tank and pump hooked up with the check valve, pressure switch. Working some of our lines. That is the line that supplies the air tank. Put it through there, grommeted in there. Definitely grommet. All tied in up there. So that goes across over to the main controller. Ties in there. This is the bleeder. You can adjust how fast it bleeds out. And these you simply plug. That would be for another one of these. These 4 lines go up to the cab for the gauge set. These 4 lines go out for the raising and lowering on the wheels to the airbags. So bear with us. Alright, back on her. We got our airbags kind of mounted. Let me back out a little bit. We took the old scrap piece that we cut off out of these to get gain access to getting in there to tighten in everything, the bottom nut, top jammer, and then we took the scrap that was from here, and it already had an angle cut, so I ended up using them on the front, and it worked out pretty good. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. Same deal on this side, and that is pretty straight. Angles a little bit down with the full extension. Give it a slight cut, not cut, but grind. Just clean up edges, whatnot. Definitely don't want this around no sharp edges. We got them good rubber clamps. Looking pretty good. Okay, now that we are on the next little piece of this thing, we're doing a budget. I would have suggested getting a drop axle, which would have set it 2 to 3 inches higher right out the gate without modifying the spring. Something I usually don't like doing. We still got 3 leaves left. Keep these pieces on to keep them aligned. I simply snip those the best I could, and I don't like generally doing that. But to get this as low as we needed, I cut the bump stop down to a minimal, which we're going to mount our airbag right here, and I'll show you in a minute. We're going to basically weld a plate to the frame level as possible, and I might actually maintain a little bit of that grade with the angle too, just to get a little more drop out of it. As you can see, this one's just sitting in there, not mounted or anything, just kind of representing. But right here is our air inlet, so make sure you keep that clear of the frame. We've already got our air line ran somewhere here in this midst of mess. And we're gonna make this bolt right here, the center bolt, and offset it to the side just enough to clear this. And I think what I'm gonna do in this case is build some kind of a bracket that holds it to the bottom of that spring. Can't weld to that. And then we will be welding the plate to this side though, and hooking our airline up. So we're gonna go ahead and do all this real quick. This thing's already riding down nice and low. When I set it on the ground, there's about a finger width between the bump stop and the frame. So that'll be pretty close to what the customer, well, close friend of mine wants. This side goes up to where the white wall is tucked in about yay far, the top of it. So this does go up about 3.5 to 4 inches from here, and it's got a pretty good stance to it. So there you go, bear with me, we'll keep going. All right, we are definitely back at it. I simply cut these pre-made cups that came with the kit, put the bolt in the bottom, made it fit around there, so we got a flush mounting. Up here we got a little bit of an angle because I kind of wanted to tuck on the back side a little bit. Probably do a little better where that bump stop was. Same thing this side. This side is going to give us a little bit of help though. Now drop axle would have been a lot easier in this application. You can see we're mighty close, pretty much almost touching that thing. What I'm going to do is make a little plate right here that will take the skidding of this coming by it without wearing a hole in the rubber right there. So every application is different, but there you go. And yeah, we're down to 3 springs on these, so this thing will definitely dump all the way down. Other than that, the back goes up a few more inches. Still be sitting pretty low here in a minute. Let me go ahead and move on to the control unit of this and make it happen. Alright, now that we are continuing the video, got my kid out here helping me. We have a ground wire, clean your grounds, nice good solid connections. That goes to the pressure switch to the tank. Our air is already hooked up and everything ready to be triggered by the pressure switch. And yeah, sometimes my pressure switch gets set off by crazy old women. While I listen to music like this. We've got our our lines. These go to the gauges up above. Some have setups like this, others do not. These 4 lines go to the airbags. This is the control unit, and it has the wiring, and we followed that simply up. This every application is different. We only have so much line, so this is what we found on this one. Go through the fender there, hole, and go on up into the cab. Everything else is pretty much ready. We're taping up the main power wire and also the trigger wire. The red wire is the supply to the air pump. The green wire is the trigger wire that is all ground that will go to the relay and make everything activate. But I'm also going to wire one side of the relay to the key, which will make it so it only comes on when the key is on, so you ain't killing your battery while you're out shopping or whatever you do. Oh, there you go. Bear with me. We'll get the next section in a minute here. And this is my simple diagram. I was helping my son understand some stuff about the relay, the pump, the air, the trigger wire, a breaker, which we actually used the fuse in place, 10 amps stronger, and the battery, and also the control panel. I did not put all the control panel wiring on there, but it is on here. All the color-coded wires. And this also shows the same thing. Right all there. Focus on that a little better for you. But that shows everything similar to what I already have. Right, we have moved upstairs in the LBC. Nah. Anyway, we've got our relay set up, which will power the air pump. I'm going to heat shrink and solder every fitting. We're going to mount it up here next to the battery with a 40 amp fuse next to it, which I've already got in line here. It came with a breaker, but I wanted to add a little more to it because I'm very familiar with these things popping. But anyway, our trigger wire that comes from the pressure will be going to trigger the relay. We've got our wire to the air pump. The black wire is to supply 12 volt. And then the yellow wire will be the accessory turn on. So this only comes on when the ignition is turned on. Therefore, you don't come out to a dead battery. Thanks for watching. Alright, we have moved on. We got everything mounted. Just kind of taped it up, tidied a bunch up. We had made this battery up above. It was below the passenger floorboard. Kind of got thrown in the mix. But long story short, this is the last wire I got to hook up, which I'm going to tap into the yellow accessory over there. Makes the pump kick on. Basically tells the pressure switch it's okay. So I'm pretty sure we're pretty good and pumped up already. I'm going to test out pressure in just a minute. We are simply working with wiring right now. All these wires are color coded. We're going to cut them back and reconnect them where they belong on the switches. All this is right here once again. Just follow the diagram and hope you got all your air lines right, or other stuff's going to be popping up or going down at the wrong times. Alright, we just got done hooking everything up. We're testing everything out. All these wires, let me kind of, that's why I did it in backwards. They're all ran via the chart that came with it. I can get a clear shot. But everything seems to match up. We're going to give it a shot. And we've got our air pressure switch. Did stop it. I did label them left front. Yeah, we're dropping. Left rear. Oh, we got a full side lean here. And then on this side, not the fastest setup in the world, but definitely, yeah, it definitely pancakes down nicely. You see the gauges, and then ups. Oh yeah, working great. There goes our pump. Do our other rear, front. Oh yeah, everything's working. All right, well, anyway, this is airbagit.com, little kit. Worked out pretty well. My kid actually ran part of the airlines. Get that out of the way, so you see what you get. Cool little setup, simple, not fast or hopping, but it works well. Good for the old school. I guess we'll show one more little piece. We got her dump down in the back. Kind of good looking. Just finishing with the 1952 Chevy truck. Just got done putting the air ride on it. Relocating the battery. And it's high. Front has air ride too. And the back is dumped on full pancake. Well, I ate the pancake, so it's sitting on the concrete. Just finishing with the 1952 Chevy truck. Just got done putting the air ride on it. Relocating the battery. And it's high. Front has air ride too, and the back is dumped on full pancake. Well, I ate the pancake, so it's sitting on concrete. All right, bear with me. About to jump it. Jump it. What?